Okay. Keeping up with AI news every day, it's basically impossible, right?
I mean, it really feels that way sometimes, just a constant stream.
Exactly. You want to know what's actually important today, what's breaking, what it means, but without wading through everything.
Uh-huh.
So that's what this deep dive is for. We've gone through the latest batch news, blogs, papers, you name it, from the last few days.
And pulled out the key stuff, the big model releases, new tools, how AI is actually being used, and of course the ongoing ethics discussions.
Let's jump right in. First big one seems to be OpenAI, again, GPT 4.1.
Yes, GPT 4.1. And its variants, Mini and Nano. Key thing here, it's API only for now. Developers get first dibs.
API only. So focused on building things with it, not just chatting. What's the big improvement?
Coding. Apparently a huge leap. They're setting a 54.6% score on something called SWE Bench Verified.
Okay, translate that for me. What does that percentage mean?
It basically means it's much, much better at solving real software engineering problems. That's like a 21 percentage point jump over GPT-4o, which was already pretty good.
Wow, okay. That is significant. So better code generation. What else?
Better instruction following, too. It reportedly beat GPT-4o by about 10.5 percentage points on Scale's multi-challenge benchmark.
Which means?
It means when you give it complex instructions, it's more likely to actually do what you asked the way you asked it. More reliable for developers integrating it.
Makes sense. Reliability is key there. And I heard something about the context window.
Oh, yeah. Big news there. Up to 1 million tokens.
1 million?
Yep. Think about feeding it an entire large software project code, documentation, everything, and having it understand the whole context.
Okay, that opens up possibilities, like
Yeah.
really complex debugging or understanding massive code bases.
Exactly. Though, efficiently using that huge context window for complex tasks is still something the whole field is figuring out. But the potential is there.
So developers get the shiny new toy via API. What about regular ChatGPT users? I saw GPT-4 is being phased out.
That's the plan. By April 30th, GPT-4o becomes the default model in ChatGPT, replacing the older GPT-4.
Got it. So the free or standard tier gets an upgrade to 4.0, while 4.1 is the premium API-focused model for now.
Seems to be the strategy. OpenAI also put out something called BrowseComp.
Browse comp.
Yeah, a new benchmark specifically for testing how well AI agents can browse the web and find information.
It's actually useful, evaluating how good they are at, well, Googling things for you.
Pretty much. And speaking of OpenAI, Sam Altman apparently admitted their model names are confusing.
Tell me about it.
He promised a fix is coming. We'll see.
We can only hope. Okay, who else is making waves with models?
Right.
As AI.
XAI, they've made the Grok 3 API publicly available now.
Elon Musk's contender. How does it stack up? Pricing, context.
Pricing is out there, $3 per $1 million input tokens, $15 for output. They offer faster options, too, for a premium.
Okay, and the context window. I remember hearing big claims earlier.
Yeah, the official limit announced is 131,000 tokens, which is, substantial, but maybe not the million some were hoping for, based on earlier hints.
Okay. So available, but maybe tempered expectations on the context length compared to, say, GPT 4.1's potential million.
Kind of seems that way. And there's still not a ton of detail on its exact size or training data, which some developers have noted.
Interesting. Okay, moving on from pure models. What about tools for building with AI? Google had something.
Yes, Google Cloud announced the Agent Development Kit, or ADK. It's open source.
The ADK, what's the goal?
To make it easier to build applications that use multiple AI agents working together. It helps with designing the logic, coordinating the agents, debugging, testing, the whole life cycle.
Okay, an open source toolkit for multi-agent systems, that could definitely spur more complex AI app development.
That seems to be the idea. And Google's also pushing on the creative side. VO2, their text-to-video generator.
Right, I saw that. Is it widely available now?
It's available for Gemini Advanced subscribers. They're promising high-res clips, cinematic realism, generating 8-second videos from text prompts.
8 seconds.
They're-
Still short, but the quality claims are bold. Cinematic realism is a high bar.
It is. And for Google One AI Premium users, they also get access to a tool called Whisk Animate. More creative AI tools hitting subscriber tiers.
Google's definitely covering a lot of ground. How about the open source community? Any standout models?
Together, AI released DeepCoder 14b Preview. Fully open source model focused on code reasoning.
DeepCoder. What's special about it?
It performs really well on code understanding benchmarks, like 60.6% pass at 1 on Live Code Bench, but only has 14 billion parameters.
Only 14 billion. That's quite efficient for that level of performance.
Exactly. Shows what's possible with focused fine-tuning, even on smaller open models. It's built on DeepSeek and Qwen models.
Good to see strong open source contenders emerging. Any others?
Kunlun Wanwei released their Skywork OR1 series, also open source, tailored for math, code, and reasoning.
Skywork,
You know,
specific models.
yeah, they mentioned Skywork OR1 Math 7B, focused on math, and preview versions of a 7B and a 32B parameter general reasoning model. More options for developers.
Lots of new tools in the AI toolbox then. Shifting to hardware for a sec, Nvidia.
New graphics cards. The GeForce RTX 5060 series.
Oh, the 50 series is rolling out. What's the entry point?
3 new GPUs in the 5060 range. Starts at $299 for the 8GB version, with other configs available too. Aimed at that mainstream gamer and creator market.
Right, keeping the hardware pipeline flowing for gaming and increasingly local AI tasks. Okay, let's talk integrations, making AI work within existing tools, Anthropic and Google Workspace.
Big one. Anthropic's Claude can now connect directly into your Google stuff, Gmail, Calendar, Docs.
How does that work in practice?
Think of it as an assistant inside your workspace. You could ask Claude to, say, summarize emails and calendar events about Project X, pulling info directly from those apps. Search across them too.
That sounds potentially very useful, like a frontline assistant digging through your own stuff for you.
Could be a real time saver if it works smoothly. And similar integration news from GitHub.
Oh yeah, what's happening there?
You can now use GitHub's own AI models directly within GitHub Actions workflows. Just use the standard GitHub token you already have.
No separate API keys needed.
Nope. Streamlines things. You just need to add a new models, read permission to your workflow file.
And what can you do with that?
They gave examples like a prompt action to call language models or an AI translate action to automatically translate documentation right in your CI/CD pipeline.
Embedding AI directly into the development workflow. Makes sense. And I keep hearing about deep research tools. What's the difference there?
It's kind of the next step beyond just asking ChatGPT or Perplexity a question where it does a quick web search. These tools aim to combine conversational AI with more autonomous, in-depth web browsing, integration with other tools, and more sophisticated reasoning.
So for tasks that need more than a quick answer, like serious analysis.
Exactly. Think complex market research, scientific literature reviews, stuff that requires digging deep and synthesizing info from many places over time, not just a simple Q&A.
Got it. Okay, let's pivot to where AI is actually being applied. It feels like it's popping up everywhere. Engineering.
Yep. A company called Strategic Technology Consulting, STC, launched an AI tool for model-based systems engineering, MBSE, called Intelligent MBSE.
Aiming to speed up what exactly?
Speed up and improve the accuracy of digital engineering, automating parts of complex system design.
Okay. How about supply chains? Always a complex area.
There's a new AI inventory solution called Atomic. Interestingly, it was founded by former Tesla supply chain people.
So they likely learned some hard lessons scaling up Model 3 production.
That's the story. They're using that experience to build an AI tool to help other companies avoid similar inventory and logistics headaches, using AI to streamline the whole process.
Makes sense to apply AI there. What about even earlier in the process, like coming up with product ideas?
Fascinating example here. Luca Fiaschi from PyMC Labs built a multi-agent system for this.
Multi-agent for product ideas? How?
It basically uses AI to simulate consumer panels. It can evaluate hundreds of product concepts in parallel, quantitatively, using fine-tuned AI models to mimic consumer reactions, trying to predict market fit much faster.
Wow. Simulating market research at scale with AI agents. That's
ambitious. Definitely innovative. And then there's the more established area of AI ops.
AI for IT operations. What's the focus there?
Using AI analytics for proactive monitoring, spotting potential IT issues before they cause outages, automating responses, basically keeping the digital infrastructure running smoothly and efficiently, reducing downtime.
Crucial for businesses. What about safety? AI improving worker safety.
Shawmut Design and Construction is using AI with GPS and weather data
For construction sites. How?
to analyze conditions and identify potential risks for their workers. They mentioned around 30,000 people, trying to make sites safer proactively.
That's a great application, using data to protect people. And I saw AI mentioned in connection with a nuclear power plant.
Yes, California's Diablo Canyon plant deployed a generative AI safety system. It's called Neutron Enterprise.
Generative AI for nuclear safety. That sounds bold.
It's reportedly a first for a U.S. nuclear facility. Shows growing confidence, or at least exploration, of AI in highly critical regulated areas.
Definitely one to watch. Okay, moving to customer service air, India.
Partner with Salesforce. They're using agentic AI, likely AI agents, to improve customer service interactions.
More AI handling customer queries seems like a major trend. Speaking of Salesforce, didn't they say AI is writing a chunk of their own code now?
Yeah, the figure mentioned was around 20%, which is pretty substantial.
So developers there are becoming more like architects guiding the AI.
That's the narrative. Their role evolves. And there's another coding assistant called Klein that apparently helps in both planning and writing code. AI is getting involved earlier in the process.
It's embedding itself deeper, and even basic Windows tools are getting AI features.
Seems so. AI tools integrated into Windows Paint and Notepad. Maybe simple stuff now, but shows how pervasive it's becoming.
Even Notepad. Okay, wildest application I saw, chatting with dolphins.
Huh. Yes, Google is working on an LLM called Dolphin Gemma. It's a collaboration with researchers at the Wild Dolphin Project.
Seriously, trying to understand dolphin communication with AI. Yeah.
That's the long-term goal. It's obviously very complex early days research, but imagine if they could make progress there. Understanding another species' communication.
Mind-bending stuff. Okay, briefly, autonomous vehicles and freight. Still a big AI area.
Absolutely. Robotaxis, self-driving trucks, optimizing logistics. AI is fundamental to all of that progress. Still a huge focus.
And someone's trying to make regtech less boring with AI.
Apparently. Regulatory technology. If AI can streamline compliance, that's likely welcome.
No doubt. And even venture capitalists are using AI, Harmonic.
Using Langsmith and Landgraf tools for building with LLMs to streamline their investment workflows. Finding companies, due diligence, that kind of thing.
So literally from dolphins to VC funding rounds, AI is being applied. It's incredible.
The breadth is really something.
But applications also bring up questions. Ethics, privacy, how these things are built. Let's talk about that side. Meta training on EU user data.
Yes. Meta confirmed they are using content shared publicly by adult users in the EU to train their AI models.
Without explicit opt-in.
Users have the option to object, to opt out. But it seems the default is inclusion. That's definitely raised some eyebrows under GDPR.
Right, the opt-in versus opt-out debate. How does Apple approach this? They always talk privacy.
Apple's emphasizing their use of synthetic data and anonymized user data, and crucially, doing a lot of the AI processing directly on the device rather than sending personal data to the cloud. A very different approach.
On-device processing as a privacy feature. Interesting contrast. What else is happening on the regulatory or legal front? FTC versus Meta.
That trial is ongoing. It could have big implications for Meta's ownership of Instagram and WhatsApp, though it's not purely an AI case. It touches on data and market power relevant to AI.
Gotcha. And Microsoft's AI strategy seems different from OpenAI's push the frontier approach.
Microsoft AI CEO basically said it's smarter to be 6 months behind the absolute cutting edge. Their focus seems to be more on cost efficiency, reliability, and building their own capabilities by learning from, but not necessarily racing ahead of, OpenAI.
A more pragmatic, maybe less risky approach, focusing on deployment and cost.
Could be interpreted that way. Meanwhile, you have startups focused specifically on AI safety and security, like Virtue AI.
Virtue AI, what do they do?
They just raised $30 million. They provide tools for AI safety and security. Their customer list apparently includes some frontier AI labs, plus companies like Uber and Glean. So there's clearly demand for tools to manage AI risks.
$30 million suggests significant interest. Are there concerns about the pace of development itself, like at OpenAI?
There are reports surfacing, allegedly from some insiders, that OpenAI used to test new models for months, but now the cycle is sometimes just days. That speed is raising concerns for some about potentially missing risks.
Faster releases, but potentially less vetting time. That's a classic tension.
Definitely. And security risks aren't just hypothetical. There was a report about slop squatting.
Slop squatting, what's that?
It's like typist squatting, but for AI. Apparently, about 1 in 5 AI-generated code snippets contains references to fake or malicious software libraries.
Whoa. So copy-pasting code from an AI could actually install malware.
That's the risk. Developers need to be really careful vetting AI-suggested code and its dependencies.
Another thing to worry about. Okay, ethically, what about AI for, say, elderly care?
There was mention of a service called InTouch, designed to be an AI that calls elderly parents. It raised questions about, replacing human connection, feelings of being managed by AI rather than cared for by family.
Yeah, that feels complicated, very personal.
It is. And speaking of data use concerns, X, formerly Twitter, and its Grok AI are reportedly under scrutiny in the EU.
Why?
over allegations they use public posts from EU users to train Grok without the proper transparency or legal basis required by GDPR. Similar questions to Meta, really.
GDPR continues to be a major factor for companies training AI on user data. What about intellectual property, the Studio Ghibli AI images?
Yeah, people using tools like ChatGPT to generate images in the distinct style of Studio Ghibli. It sparked debate. Is it harmless fun, or is it essentially industrial-scale copyright infringement, undermining the original artists?
A really tricky line there. And then there's the whole concept of adversarial AI.
Right, intentionally trying to fool or break AI systems. Things like adding imperceptible noise to images to make an AI misclassify them, or musicians like Ben Jordan creating AI poison pills, audio designed to confuse AI music models if they scrape it for training.
Fighting back against scraping, essentially.
In a way, it all ties into the broader, crucial topic of AI alignment and safety.
Alignment meaning making sure AI goals match human values.
Exactly, ensuring AI systems act in ways that are beneficial and don't lead to unintended negative consequences. It's a huge area of research and debate.
And within that, there are different levels of human control, right?
Yes, often talked about on 3 levels. Human in the loop, where a person directly approves or intervenes in each action. Human on the loop, where a person monitors the AI and can step in if needed. And human off the loop, where the AI operates fully autonomously.
Different levels for different risks and applications. I saw a mention of the U.S. military's framework.
Yeah, the sense makes sense, decide, act framework. It's how they think about integrating AI into decision-making processes, ensuring human oversight at critical points.
Makes sense for high-stakes decisions. What about the speed of AI thinking? Inference timescaling.
That relates to how much thinking time an AI agent has before it needs to act. More time might allow for deeper reasoning, maybe tapping into something like Daniel Kahneman's System 2, thinking slow, deliberate reasoning versus System 1's fast, intuitive reactions. Designing agents that can use both effectively is a challenge.
So designing AI that can think slow when needed, not just react instantly.
Precisely. All of this underscores the need for robust, proactive AI testing, catching issues early before deployment.
And AI is even being used in security testing now, right? For AppSec.
Yes, AI for application security. Using it to help find vulnerabilities, prioritize alerts, even using autonomous AI agents to try and penetration test systems.
But there are challenges there, too.
Oh, definitely. False positives, AI flagging things that aren't real issues, false negatives missing actual vulnerabilities, and dealing with brand new zero-day exploits is still very hard for AI. Plus, the regulatory and moral questions around letting AI make security decisions.
Right. So AI is both a tool for security and a source of new security challenges.
It's a dual-edged sword, absolutely.
Okay, let's zoom out a bit. What are some major global AI developments we picked up on? Nvidia's manufacturing shift.
Big news there. Nvidia plans to manufacture its AI supercomputers entirely within the U.S. for the first time.
Why the change?
They cited the changing global trade landscape. It's a significant move towards domestic production, and they've pledged up to $500 billion over 4 years to build AI infrastructure in the U.S.
$500 billion. That's
Yeah.
a staggering number, a huge bet on U.S.-based AI infrastructure.
It really is. On the geopolitical front, NATO made a choice too.
What do they adopt?
Palantir's AI analytics system, called MSS NATO. The goal is faster military decision-making by automating data analysis.
So AI adoption at the highest levels of international security alliances. What about Asia? China?
Alibaba's Quark AI assistant was apparently the most used AI app in China back in March. Shows rapid consumer uptake.
Quark. Okay. Any other big players emerging?
Japan's NTT is being mentioned as a sort of under-the-radar AI powerhouse. Maybe not as flashy, but significant capabilities. And Zippo AI, which is backed by Alibaba, is apparently aiming for an IPO, maybe as soon as 2025.
Zippo. Would that be the first major Chinese ChatGPT-style competitor to go public?
That seems to be their goal. Would be a big milestone for the Chinese AI scene.
Definitely. And finally, India. Lots of buzz about India's AI potential.
Yes, Nandan Nilekani discussed India's AI future, highlighting the importance of energy, policy, the growing deep tech startup scene, and the need for regulation.
So focusing on the foundations needed. Any specific examples of AI traction in India?
TCS Tata Consultancy Services apparently has a massive $12.2 billion AI engine. It's agentic AI, already embedded in over 150 enterprise workflows. That's significant real-world deployment.
$12.2 billion AI engine from TCS. Wow. And new startups.
Ola Electric's former AI director is building a new robotics startup there, X Species AI, focusing on hardware and AI integration.
Robotics focus, interesting. And AWS.
The AWS Summit is returning to Bengaluru in 2025 with a specific focus on AI, underlines the region's growing importance.
So clear momentum in India across enterprise, startups, and infrastructure. It really feels like AI is accelerating everywhere simultaneously.
It does. The pace across models, tools, applications, ethics, global development, it's relentless.
From huge new models like GPT 4.1 to AI helping design products, ensure safety, even potentially talk to dolphins, it's reshaping things constantly.
And the ethical and practical considerations are evolving just as fast, how we build it, how we use it responsibly.
Well, hopefully this deep dive gave everyone listening a clearer picture of what mattered most in the AI world over the past few days, without needing to track it all hour by hour.
That was the goal, cutting through the noise.
So, maybe a final thought to leave people with. Considering this pace and all the debates, what do you think might be the single most significant impact of AI on our daily lives, say, in the next year? Something tangible.
That's a tough one. So much is happening.
Something to mull over. Anyway, thanks for joining us for this deep dive into today's AI news.